Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the 2024 Vespa GTS Super Tech. It is almost the very top of the line Vespa. So what we're going to do in this review is we're going to go over the details of this. We're also going to talk about who this vehicle is good for, who is not good for, and we're going to talk about some of the things that are in here in the 2024 model that may be of value to you that the other videos aren't showing you. And if you have questions after this and I don't hit to some of the points that you want to hit on, I'm filming here at Jim Gilbert's Power Sports, Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals. These guys give me complete access to their entire vehicle lineup. They're the #1 volume Kawasaki dealer in the country. They sell a bunch of Vespas, Pedigo e-bikes, all kinds of stuff, and of course a number of vehicles as well. So if you have questions, make sure you let me know in the comments, and make sure you just hit the subscribe button because we'll have more Vespa videos also coming up. So let's get going with this review. So let's place this in the Vespa lineup and in the overall scooter lineup that's out there right now. So in the Vespa lineup, you have the Sprint and the Primavera. Those are the smaller bodied Vespas, and they're available in the 50cc and 150cc. So basically they are in town only or country highways at best. You know, I think it's around 100 kilometers, 99 kilometers an hour top speed. Of course, that will vary on your weight, wind conditions, grade, and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, someone like myself can get it just over 100 kilometers an hour, but that's full out max just with me. So this one is brought in the 300 class. It's actually 278cc single cylinder, and this is something that you can really take with two people comfortably, and it's got the power to go on highways and do basically everything a motorcycle can do. So I'm a big fan of this because there's nothing that the little Vespas can't do or can do that this one can't, essentially, for driving. And it also gives you the ability to go on day tours, day trips, and even longer tours if you want to be aggressive with it. So it's also something that, again, it can easily take a passenger. We'll show you some of those details. So in this lineup with this tech model, it does have an advanced screen here which can do a whole bunch of things. So we're going to get to that as we go through this model. But we're going to start with what makes it unique, starting at the front wheel, moving our way back, heading to some of the storage that's under the seat here, talking about some accessories, and working our way through the tech. Let's start at the front wheel. So taking a look at the front wheel of this scooter, if you've seen my videos before, you know I love to start with the front wheel because it tells you about the manufacturer's intent of a motorcycle. Now on a scooter, it can be a little bit different. On this Vespa, as we go through it, you're going to see a number of features that are different than other scooters. Some of them are for fashion and design, and some of them are for practicality. This one appears to be fashion and design, but we're going to show you the other side in a second where you can see some of the practicality. So first of all, you have a 12-inch diameter rim. That's a small diameter rim, and it's got a fairly large tire for that rim compared to the 50 and 150cc bikes. But you do have an automotive style because all of the suspension and braking is on the opposite side. We're going to show you that in a second. So again, this side is style, but what they do with the other side actually does provide you with some functions. You've got a little bit of extra suspension travel here. This one is a liquid cooled unit, so in behind here, you do have a radiator there, so you have a little bit more temperature control than the air controlled unit, which is going to allow them to tune it for a little bit better performance and also just give you a little bit more reliability, in my opinion. So over here, you've got a well-grooved tire as well. It's not like a sport bike tire where there's very little rubber on the road. These are great in poor weather, and that's one thing that to remember is you have the protection of the bodywork and the fender to keep you dry. Your feet are inside that bodywork, and then you've got the tires that can handle the rain and the poor weather. So if you wanted to head out somewhere in all weather, you can do that, of course, with this. So although this bike does have a familiar styling element to it, you can tell the difference between this and the lower end models by two little vents on the side, one up here and one down there. On video, this may look the same size as the smaller Vespas, but this here and that there can show you in a picture or a distance that this is the larger unit, and it is physically a large unit. Right now I have it on a side stand as well. That comes standard with this model. It also has a center stand. So usually you only get a center stand on the smaller Vespas, but that's pretty cool. One of the cool things about Vespas is you have this iconic look, but you also have this bodywork that is actually part of the frame. So instead of having it like an automotive design where you just, or even a sport bike design where you throw plastic panels, sometimes ill-fitting plastic panels on a metal frame, the bodywork and shape here is actually part of the frame in a Vespa, and it gives you a very stiff area to build upon. So there is some extra quality built into a vehicle like this that isn't in some of the lesser expensive models. You're absolutely paying for a certain look and a certain style and an iconic vehicle, but you do have a lot of extra quality built into this as well. I'm about to sit on this unit, so we'll show you what it's like with a 6-footer sitting on here. And one thing is the Vespas do have a lot of space in them. We'll show you that in a second. But one thing I want to show you before we go, we're hinting at the technology here. You can see there's no key there. This is actually a keyless entry or keyless vehicle. We'll show you how that works. It has a key fob. One of the quick things I want to show you here though is, if I could pull it out here from the wrong angle, is that you do have this sort of little hook here, and you can open it like that. So you can put your grocery bag, your backpack, whatever you want, and you can hang that between your legs there. And that gives you a little extra storage thing that you don't always see, but it actually could be some of your largest storage, having a backpack tied into that, also between your legs. And it sits down here on the rubber pad. In that rubber pad area is the vehicle's battery, so that's a heavy piece down low. That heavy weight down low is going to help you with your balance overall. And then of course you have the floorboards here. So the floorboards of course are true paint down there with the rubber pads as well. So you have that really, really unique look. But again, we'll show you some of the storage in here and we'll show you storage under the seat, but I want you to remember that piece there as well. The other thing I want to show you here before I climb on it is the over-engineered rear passenger pegs. These are pretty cool. You just pull them out like this and you can sort of see they kind of catapult from, the hinge goes from here to the center. You could certainly make these a simpler design, but Vespa makes a nice solid kind of aluminum kind of look. They're very cool looking and they are very practical as well. So we'll show you that in just one second as I sit on the vehicle right now. So if you're parking this Vespa just for a short bit and it's on solid ground, you do have that side stand which you can just kind of pick it up off of like that. But what I'm going to do for the purposes of sitting on this is I'm going to throw it on the center stand. I want to show you how easy that is. You put the side stand up, you put your foot on the rear center stand, and you have this handle around the seat here. You just push down with your foot, hold it with 2 fingers there. It's very easy. You don't have to be heavy at all to put it up on its center stand. And then of course that allows me to show you what the seating position is like. So sitting on this, again, as a 6-footer, I could move forward. If I had a huge passenger, I can move back. I can move a long ways back. Now this seat does have a little bit of a bump to it, so basically right about here is as far as I'd want to go. But again, around 6 feet tall, you can see I can easily reach the handlebars, but I have a ton of knee space. So even if you were taller than me, this is not a problem to fit on. It's very comfortable. You can get accessories on this. You could add a windshield here, so if you're heading down, higher speed roads and you want to keep some wind blast off your chest and just make you a little bit less tired overall, you can do that. And then the other thing is there's no foot brake, no shifter, no anything else. It's a twist and go still, even though it's a larger displacement scooter, and you have 2 hand brakes, a lot like a bicycle, so you just use your brakes. Your feet don't have to do anything. They're just along for the ride. Now we'll pop out both of these foot pegs there, and we'll throw myself on the very back here. So what I'm going to do is sit up here. We are on the center stand, so hopefully it doesn't tip back on me a little bit. Putting my feet, my full weight on there, and coming back here. You can see there's still a lot of space for me here. I've got this rail to hold on to, so I can hold on like that. I can also hold on to the driver there, but you've got a lot of space for a motorcycle, including a small motorcycle. This is not a very long vehicle. A lot of space for passengers. It's actually far more comfortable than most motorcycles, and certainly more comfortable than a lot of small displacement motorcycles, even if you want to take 2 people. Taking a look at the left side of the Vespa, you see that there's actually no vent there, but there is a vent on the front side. So if you are looking at this from the left side of the vehicle, the driver's side in North America here, you do see that there is no vent, but you also see down a little lower here, basically your transmission and drivetrain is part of your suspension. So if you take a look at this, a lot of your weight is down low connected to the wheels. So the brake is on this side, and a lot of the transmission and everything down here, and that leaves this upper space in here. Let's see if you can sort of see that. Yeah, you can sort of see. We'll go back to the regular angle view, but it leaves this upper space in here for storage, which is pretty cool. So you've got a good amount of storage up there, which we'll show you in a second. Your drive and weight down low there. And then we're going to also show you the front brake and suspension, which again is another really unique piece of a Vespa scooter. So when you throw the Vespa on its side stand and you turn the wheel, you're looking at the opposite side of the front wheel. So most people just get to look at that sort of clean front wheel look, which is unique. But remember, there is no corresponding tube like this on the other side. Now you've got a couple hints of some technology in here. Let's just talk about the lettering here. ABS and ASR. ABS, of course, anti-lock brakes are available on this unit or standard on this unit. ASR is an anti-slip regulation. Essentially, it's a traction control. It doesn't need to be on the front wheel here because that's actually a rear wheel only. Of course, traction control only works on the drive wheel, which is the rear wheel. What you do see here, though, is this sort of triangulated piece here. And there's a couple little things that are kind of cool. First of all, it's a variable rate spring, so it can adapt to different smaller and larger bumps. And what this triangular type piece does is it helps with anti-dive. So when you jam on the brakes, it's not going to dive as much as it would without some of these pieces on here, and that allows you to still have as much of the suspension travel as you can. So even though there's not a ton of suspension travel here, you're not jamming on your brakes and losing all your suspension travel. You've still got a good bit of it, which is one of the really unique things that gives this thing kind of that typical Vespa ride. You've got your disc brake in there as well, and like we said, it has got ABS. So a little bit of technology showing through here. Another piece that's really nice is you have a braided steel line here to the brakes. That's something they do on high-end sport bikes. They don't do that on low-end anything really, but you do have it here on the Vespa, so that's going to keep that line from expanding at all. It's going to give you good brake feel and good brake performance. So again, a lot of technology built into here that you don't get in your typical scooter, and you certainly don't get in a typical low displacement motorcycle. One of the other things I love about Vespa scooters is you have a large brake light here. You can see this is just your daytime running light, so your running light there, bright LED, and of course you've got the center there, which is LED as well. And then if we turn on our signal lights right here, you can see you have, this one actually has a little sticker remnants on it, so we'll do the other side there. But again, nice LED signal lights front and rear. Let's show you the front as well, because lighting on this vehicle is top notch, which again, in a low displacement motorcycle, you don't always get. So one thing I love about Vespas is they put these LED lights in there. These actually don't film very well, but you have the lights here, the lights there. They're brighter than they have been in previous years, in my opinion. And then you've got signal lights on the inside of that. So the inside there, signal lights doesn't replace the light, you still have that. And when it's not running, the headlight doesn't show, but it's a two-level headlight. High beam on top, low beam on the bottom, I believe. What I can do is flash your high beams without starting it up, and you will see they are extremely bright white LEDs. So we'll do that right now. Very bright white LED, which is really nice. High-end lighting on this motorcycle. So when you go with the GTS Super Tech, you end up with this just over 4-inch display screen. Now it's pretty good, but there's a couple minor gripes I have with it. First of all, you can connect a GPS-ish system up to this. Now there is in the website a asterisk attached to that, so we'll talk about how that is. I guess it has some GPS connectivity and some phone connectivity. I think the GPS connectivity works through your phone. To be honest, I haven't done that yet. If you want to see a video on that, let me know, and I'll try to figure that all out for you. But you've got a number of things in here, so we'll show you the controls in a second, but basically you've got 1, 2, and 3, and as you cycle through these, what they are is they move along. So I'm going to push them this way. So this will go to there, that will disappear. So right now it's in the settings. We're going to push that 250 kilometers, which is the 250 kilometers till empty. Then we have kilometers per liter, which is your fuel efficiency. Then we have your range to empty, which is when you're, when you're driving, it'll show you how many kilometers you have per liter. Actually, no, kilometers per liter's overall range. We'll double check that one. Then you got your 12.1 volts on the battery right now. This is your average speed. Now, the one thing I have an issue with this is that symbol, it could be bigger. I think if you're reading, I mean, I need glasses to read stuff on a screen anyways, but that does say AVG down there. And of course, I know it's my average speed. And of course, they had this up to 105 kilometers an hour as a maximum speed. But one of the things that I would like to see is this font being just a little bit bigger, because I think especially as you're driving down and that kind of thing, the 9 kilometers is fine, but the average is just hard to read there. 105 kilometers is the max like we showed you, and then we go into, there's a timer, and then there's the trip meters, and then there's overall odometer. So all of those things can cycle through the top, while down low you have your speedometer, which is again, nice clear display. You've got a fuel gauge down the bottom, a clock up top on the left, and outdoor temperature, which is pretty accurate. Some motorcycles are a little bit off, but we're filming inside today, so that's pretty accurate for that. Languages can be switched here. It was on Italian when I first got it, but of course we switched it to English. And when you do turn this off, you can see here, it'll basically say, see you later. System locks, you can turn the ignition knob. So I want to show you one other feature of this vehicle as it turns itself off. We'll do that right now. So you look at the Vespa and it looks pretty normal, but it has this keyless fob here. Now, I am not a huge fan of it, but that probably has more to do with my bias of handling multiple vehicles every single day. It takes a little bit of a learning curve for me to adapt to this. I think, to be fair to Vespa, once you own this, it becomes very simple, but everybody in the auto industry, and especially in the motorcycle industry, have their own sort of way of doing keyless fobs, and each one is a little bit more confusing than the next. So essentially, you have this key fob on you, have it close to the bike, and you can turn the ignition switch, which is just like a key but doesn't have it. I feel like this is technology for technology's sake. I think a key would be just as good, but I mean, you can decide for you what you like. Let's show you some of the other controls on the bike though, because there are some differences on the controls on the handlebars. So taking a look at the left side here, up top you have your high beam. Now if you go that way, or your headlights. If you go this way, that is locking on your high beam. If you keep it in the center, it's just your regular light. And it does have a flash to pass, which I really like. You can just tap it to sort of get people's attention. Whether it's intersections, whether it's like people aren't seeing you, you can flash that really quickly, which I really like, which is a bit easier than doing this. Then you can just quickly get that light flickering so people can see you. Down here is a joystick. That joystick is what you use to go through the menus in the dash. So I was pushing it this way as we were going through. You can also press it in to select in menus. You can go up, down. So that's kind of a nice way to work the screen. The screen is fairly intuitive to use. It's not overly advanced. Like I said, I'd like to see some fonts a little bit larger, but the general menu system there, like when I switch the language and that kind of stuff, fairly easy to use, and it has a good tactile feel to it. Down here, you've got Vespa's typical signal switches, so you press in to cancel. They've got clickiness in every way, so you kind of feel that click, and then of course the horn down there. On the opposite side, we're going to switch sides of the bike here and just show you some buttons over there as well. So taking a look throttle side, remember this is twist and go. There's only brake levers here. We're gonna zoom all the way into the controls here though, and as we do that, you'll see a little lock button up here. That sort of unlocks the seating area. Now you can do that from your key fob or you can do it from the dash here. There's a kill switch that's required by law for motorcycles. There's the ASR button and the start stop, or the start button here for the motorcycle. So the ASR is basically that traction control. You can kick that on and off and you can see the display in the dash when you touch that. So it looks like a signal switch, but it doesn't turn sideways, but you can press it in there and have that ability to change that slip. To me, I can't see why you would turn it off. It's great in the rain. I don't think it'll be intrusive in any way, but if you do want to turn it off, you do have that option right there. Let's take a look at the storage of this before we wrap up and talk about who's best. Actually, before we do that, one thing I want to show you that I really like, we'll try to scroll up here. Hopefully you can read it there. Objects in mirror, maybe you can't read it. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. These are wide angle mirrors, and they're wide angle mirrors on both sides. I think that's a really key piece on a scooter. I think more motorcycles should do this. They give you a little bit wider angle, give you a little bit of better view of what's coming up behind you. So great feature to have wide angle mirrors on both sides. Taking a look at the seat on the Vespa here, again, we showed you the good size. It's nice and wide, it's comfortable for everybody. If you're taller, you're gonna be comfortable here. If you're shorter, you can stand off the front when you're at a stoplight. So it really fits people of all sizes. When I was showing it to you, it was on the center stand, which is raised up. So if it does look a little tall for you in the previous part of the video, center stand takes the rear wheel right off the ground. So it does come down when it's not on the center stand. Back here, you can see that sort of diamond pattern style. That's what Vespa does. They always make their seats kind of unique for different models. So this one here has the diamond style. And the green stitching here matches the green accent colors throughout the rest of this unit. I'm gonna hit that little lock button there and pop the seat up. What you see in here is a nice little soft piece. You don't have this in every vehicle, but that of course is gonna keep some of the rattling down. So you've got that there. And then this piece as well actually comes out, and you can see that you have the engine down there. Now what's cool about this is, I don't know if we can show you the right angle here. Let me just see if I can do that. There is what appears to be a light there, but that's just actually a lens. The light is actually in the engine bay itself. So when you drop this in, the light comes through there and gives you a little extra light into the cargo bay here. Now, I don't think you can fit a full face helmet in there, but certainly 2 half helmets definitely set up for that. So it is a very large hatch, and it is larger than you would have on other Vespas. But that's not the only storage on this. We showed you the clip, we showed you the under the seat, there's one more storage area. So being a Vespa, of course, you have a little glove box here. You press the ignition switch in, there's no ignition key. This piece falls out there. There's some information about what does that talk about? Probably tire pressure areas and that kind of thing there. And then you have a little bit of storage space in here. Now it's not a lot, it's kind of convoluted the way it works, but there is a little piece in here. You can pop that cap off. There's a USB-A switch in there. So if you have a phone that you're taking with you and you want to keep it charged, you can keep it in that spot there and it'll be charged for you all day long. So nice again when you have that navigation connection, whether you just use your own Google Maps and an earbud or whether you try to work it out through the dash there, you have some options there of having your phone with you, keeping it charged, even if it's just for those Instagram photos as you're going on your trips. So let's talk about who this Vespa is for. Now the very first thing is this Vespa is for people who want a Vespa but want a vehicle replacement. You can drive this on any road, you could drive your regular vehicle, it has enough power, you can take a second person along in comfort. So right away that opens the Vespa line to a whole bunch of people. You can enjoy the Vespa style, but you can do day trips, you can do your regular running around, all those things are available to you, and that's the obvious one. The less obvious one is people looking for a small displacement motorcycle that's really practical. This is extremely comfortable. Most small displacement motorcycles have really cheap seats. They try to save money to get it to that cheap seat. So while some small motorcycles are a little bit less expensive than this, you pay for that in quality, you pay for that in comfort, and overall just it doesn't stand out. It's usually something that people want to move from. So this is easy to drive, twist and go. And then you have all of that storage built under the seat, a little bit over here, that extra bag clip that you can put stuff between your thing, and you can put a top box on the back here, which gives you two things, an extra area to store maybe a helmet with locked storage, and locked storage is important, we'll talk about that in a second, but it also gives you the ability to have a backrest for your passenger so they can feel super secure with you in front, handholds beside, and a backrest behind them. It really is a versatile machine. Doing a lot of longer trips, throw the windshield on here. So what it is actually a very versatile motorcycle that's very comfortable. You can go anywhere, do anything, and it allows you to own an iconic vehicle. There's certain vehicles like the Volkswagen Beetle and other things that are just iconic shapes that just last for forever. The Vespa is one of those things, but you're not only paying for style. There is a bit of a style premium in price, but you're also paying for quality. It has a number of the quality features. Now you don't have to get this dash. This is the Super Tech dash. Where I think that is kind of cool is it shows it is a fully modern Vespa. It does have some features that the other Vespas don't have, and it does read and look fairly cool, fairly clear, so it is nice to have. But again, you can have a lot of this with or without this dash, depending on your style. And of course, there's a number of colors that this come in. This is all the colors are Italian. This is the blue matte in the Tech. There's a blue something Tech. It's got an Italian word in there, so I won't even try to say it. Colors do look a little different on camera, so check it out on the website. Check it out in person if you can to see the colors, but there's a lot of style in Vespas. What this is a super practical, efficient, easy to live with machine that allows you to have fun at any speed, and that to me is what makes for a great motorcycle, even if it is not a motorcycle, just a scooter. So there you go, there's your review of the Vespa GTS Super Tech. Filming here again at Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals, Jim Gilbert's Power Sports. If you want to see this in person, check it out here. It's here right now. This is the 2024 model, and if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor, give them a like just for letting us have access, and leave us a comment if you like these, if you had them, if you've won one. Leave us a nice positive comment, and we'll go from there. If you have questions, let me know. We'll make sure we come back to this scooter lineup again and again. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk to you in the next one.